Music is our business. Music is our business.
It's the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
That's musical fun for everyone.
Music is our business.
It's the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
That's musical fun for everyone. That's musical fun for everyone.
It's the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
That's musical fun for everyone.
Well, hello. Welcome to Jamie TV, streaming 100% live on YouTube for the first time in a very long time. I screwed up that ending, so I tried it again, and I screwed it up not quite as bad, but not as good as when I practiced it a bit earlier. Thank you very much for joining me. Thanks for being here. It's nice to see some people in the chat. Now, basically, I've not streamed live on YouTube for a couple of reasons for some time. Towards the end of last year, I had an accident. I took a blow to the head and I had some concussion, and I've been suffering with some cognitive issues ever since. And I started to feel a bit uncomfortable live streaming because I was getting hung up on words and terminology and lost a bit of self-confidence. I have been streaming all along during the break on my Patreon channel. I've been doing a stream more or less every week, sometimes a couple of times a week. because at my Patreon channel, it's just friends. People I've got to know reasonably well, and I feel comfortable screwing up and making a fool of myself in front of those people. So I've been wanting to get back to doing the streaming on YouTube for, for the masses, and I kind of procrastinated a little bit about it, and then I got sent this fantastic keyboard from Synido. So let's just have a look at that. Well, that's not a very good view, is it? Not at all. Let's try a different one. There, you can see it in that shot there. Look, it's a great, great keyboard. It's a fantastic product. And so I thought, what better way to make a comeback to streaming than to just do a live stream and show off this product, because I've been wanting to, because I've made loads of videos on Synido products because I think they're really, really good stuff, and I wanted to do a fancy, nicely edited, superb video for this one, and then time, and I was struggling to get it done. I thought, you know what, just do a live stream and just do it there, right? And so it just presented a great opportunity to come back to streaming with a fantastic product to show off. I've left the bag over there, haven't I? You can see the bag over there. I must not forget to show you the bag. The other reason I've not been streaming is because my following on YouTube was predominantly iOS music people. And it's not that I've abandoned iOS music or anything. It's just that I really, really wanted to pursue making music for video games. And then, of course, I managed to get into that, and it's going great. It's fantastic, and I'm just really, really happy doing that stuff. So now I'm coming back to making more videos. Now I've spent some time, diving into that and learning that. I'm doing a lot of music for retro games at the moment, and so my videos are going to be more about that. Now I will be using iOS whilst making music for video games. Of course I will. I still love making iOS music, but the focus of my channel is not iOS anymore. It will be included along the way. So, I was doing like a weekly stream doing iOS stuff. So I've just been going through a bit of a change, and now that I'm getting my confidence back a little bit, I am going to come back to streaming, and some of it will be iOS. It will all be centered around making music for video games, and I hope that some of you will stay with me and will enjoy it. Semtex commented that I've set a goal in the chat. That really was just for a laugh. I've seen other people do it. I don't really know how it works. I had a bit of a pissy pants around with it while I was waiting for the stream to start. I'm not even sure if I pressed the right buttons. But I'm going to set up channel memberships soon. So I thought I'll just put that as a goal. If I get one super chat type thing, then I will do the super chat. I will do the, what am I saying? You see what I mean? I will do the channel memberships thing. Dave says, I already have one of these, but I'll hang out to see what you have to say. I actually haven't used it much, but only because I bought an Arturia Mini Freak, very nice, around the same time, and it's been interesting. Yes. Well, Waves is here. Hi. And of course, Semtex is here because Semtex is moderator, so he has to be here. So behave yourself. There is a moderator in the chat. Right. Okay, so where shall I start? Because there's a lot to show you about this keyboard. Now, there's no way I'm going to show you every single feature of this keyboard. The most important thing is that I tell you my thoughts on it and how I feel about it, the quality of it and all that stuff. And also, I will do my best to show you some of the features. So, where to start? I think Probably. Let's start with the bag, because if I don't do it while it's on my mind, I will forget it. Just bear with me a little moment. I need to just roll my chair back a little bit. Is this cable long enough? I hope it is. That went much more smoothly than I feared. Okay, so obviously the keyboard is already on the desk, but also, oh, hang on. Synido stuff always comes in fantastic boxes. You see, I've got all this stuff in front of my face for now. This camera here may move. I had to dust the back of this camera holder here. It was absolutely covered in dust. I don't see that because normally it's way up there. Yeah, Synido stuff always comes in fantastic boxes. It's always really well packaged. And inside the lid, there is always a little diagram of how to connect up. Oh, if I put it over here, you can... God. Oh, well, it's there anyway. A diagram that shows you how to connect to mobile devices, to a synth, or to laptop, etc. All right, I'll put that over there. Now the bag. There's always a great bag with Synido products, and each one that I've had has been different. And I always show that off in the videos I make because they're always really cool. But this one, right, it's like a beach bag. It's like a high quality beach bag. So you see here, it has a strap that goes over the top that attaches here so that the whole thing can be, you know, like thief-proof. And inside we have instruction manual, which now, you know, if you watch my channel, you know I'm not a big fan of reading instruction manuals because I find it really, really difficult to focus on. I've consulted it over a couple of details, but basically I've worked out how to use this keyboard with just a little bit, with the lightest bit of reading, shall we say. Otherwise, it was all very obvious. Also in the back. Oh, and yeah, you can do this, right? So there's like this part all goes inside to make it a smaller bag, or it can be a bigger bag. So you can put, like, you know, you could put a laptop in it and an iPad, and you could put the keyboard in it and all your cables, your lunch. Yeah, oh, that's just the nice bag that the keyboard was inside. Flask, sandwiches. There's a zip pocket on the side. Did I put something in there? No, I didn't put anything in there. There's a zip pocket inside and another one at the other side. And then there's a side pocket on the side of the bag, a big deep one. And in there we've got Midi connectors, which go in the back of the keyboard if you want to use old-fashioned Midi connection lead. There's USB-A to USB-C, which I haven't opened because I've got loads of these. So I'll keep that one as a nice, you know, unwrapped snare. Spare. Another Midi connector. And another one. Oh, and in here there's also a USB A to C adapter. This is one really nice thing that Synido do. They provide you with lots of connections for many different eventualities, and also there is the usual Synido certificate of authenticity. Wow, I said authenticity without messing up. I am impressed. Okay, I'll put this stuff.
Music is a universal language, spoken and understood by all people of all races, creeds, and ages.
I was going to show you that in a bit. Anyway, right, so there's a whole bunch of connectors, great bag, well boxed and stuff. Okay, but what about the keyboard? Now, it is very 80s. It's a very 80s, yeah, Walkman and some tapes, Rubik's Cube. That's very, very cool. Yeah, so it's very, how can I put it? It's very, wipe clean friendly. So make your own jokes about that. I'm going to start by showing you something that, because what I'm going to say about this keyboard is, it's a great, just like all Synido products, actually, for one reason or another, it's a great choice for iOS users. And I'm just tidying my desk while I talk. For reasons I'll go into in a bit. Basically, this started with the Synido Tempo Pad. That was the first controller I got from them. And it was great for iOS because it had its own app. You know, in fact, let me go to this screen here where you can see my laptop. Okay, so that is the companion software that comes with this keyboard. And as you will know, when you buy a controller keyboard, it always has companion software for desktop or laptop so that you can change the functions of the keyboard or the controller or whatever and, set it up to work however you want it to work. Change the colors of things and stuff. Well, with the Tempo Pad, Synido actually made an app so that iOS users could do that stuff as well. But as the other keyboards and controllers have come out, they've not had the same. They've had the functionality built into them so that you can adjust what each pad, key, fader or knob or whatever it is, so that you can change that on the actual device itself. So for iOS users, that's an absolute godsend. And the way that that's been implemented on the last two devices I've had from them, this one and what's that one called again? The Tempo Pad. What's it called? Why is it not written on it? That would be so helpful. But the last one, I did a video on it. The one that's sort of a greeny grey. The way that's been implemented on the last couple of devices has been absolutely fantastic. So I'll show you some of that. So in other words, what I'm saying is this is a great keyboard if you want in a 25 key keyboard for iOS with some pads and some turny knobs and some transport controls, that kind of thing. If you're wanting it for iOS, this is a great choice because it doesn't matter one little bit that you don't have the companion software. You can even change the colors and everything. So, there is one thing though that this keyboard can do that you can't do on iOS, but it's not a deal breaker. So I think I'm going to show you that first. Now, if I play my keys here, we can hear the iPad. So let me just turn the iPad down and I'll turn the desktop up. Laptop, I mean. Right, and let's get a view where you can see the laptop. There, that one, that'll do us. Okay, so if you have a look over here, where's my mouse gone? There you are. Right, can you see my mouse? All right, if you have a look over here, you'll see that this keyboard has some, I was going to say built-in sounds, but they're not built-in sounds. They are sounds in the companion software. So let's say if you just wanted to play some keys and you plug into your laptop and you open up the companion software, you've got a whole bunch of sounds that you can just practice with if that's what you're wanting to do. These sounds are not going to work in your digital audio workstation or anything. They're just for practice, I guess. Right? So, here's how it works. Just down here, right? This is the sounds for the keyboard. We can change the MIDI channel that the keyboard is on. Now, that's something that is missed, or functionality that is not present in lots and lots of these cheap controller keyboards, which is a shame because, you know, if you're setting up, let's say if you're setting up a doorless setup and you're going to have like a drum machine and a couple of synths, you know, some like, you know, squeaky bass module, you might want to set up controllers for each one. If you can't change the channel that the keyboard is on, that's going to be a real fucker. So anyway, you can change it on this one. That's my point. Now then, if I press in this window here, you'll see there is a menu, a whole bunch of sounds that you can play with the key. So let's just let's select a sound. Let's go with this one. This one's quite nice. Right, so they're not like absolutely top-notch sounds, but it is very, very nice to have them. We'll try a couple of other sounds while we're here. We're not going to dwell on this. Do like a nice sort of choir pad sound. Let's find something a bit synthy. Yeah, I like that. And then, right, you'll see here that the pads are going out on MIDI channel 2, and I've got a drum machine on the pads. The pads have got 2 banks to them, so if I press this button here for pad bank, I can access some of the other drums. That also applies to the knobs you see over here. Now, I realize that this camera here is obscuring the knobs slightly, but I really wanted to have a camera that was going to be able to show you the little screen in a bit more detail. I want to be able to focus on that in a little bit. So please bear with me on that, because the only way I could do it was to have a little stand with a camera on it. And the only way I could zoom in enough, it's just obscuring the keyboard a little bit. But, you know, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but I think we can cope. So, what you can do, obviously, is if you prefer to work this way, you can use this companion software to change the MIDI channel, what the transport functions do, what MIDI channel your keys and your pads are on. You can set up the arpeggio, the scale, the chords, because it does all that stuff as well. But I'm going to show you that on the actual keyboard. And then what you do is, oh look here, this is how you would access the second bank of knobs and the second bank of pads, right? But again, you can do that from the keyboard. The button on the keyboard for all the knobs is here, knob bank. Makes me smile for some reason. Oh, yeah, now, here's an important thing that I must tell you about this keyboard. It's got Bluetooth, and Semtech says there are 7 people in the chat and there are 7 likes. You are beautiful people. You are indeed. I bet you all have smashing blouses on. Anyway, so I was telling you something really important then, and right, Bluetooth, yes. So I know that now Bluetooth is something that's not really that important to me, if I'm honest. I prefer a nice wire. Wires are my friend. I don't care how messy it is. I always find with Bluetooth there's some kind of fuck up. There's usually a bit of latency or whatever. Now, I've actually got this keyboard right now plugged into my laptop with a cable. So that's actually, powering it. If I take that cable out, then it's got a battery in it that will sustain us for a good few hours. So it charges back up by being plugged into something. But it also has Bluetooth, and although I'm not personally particularly interested in Bluetooth, I would say that this is the best keyboard I have used for lack of latency. It has not annoyed me at all. And the thing I found out about it by accident was that I could have it plugged in to my laptop, right, and play. But if I turn my iPad back up,
It's the most tremendous. It's the most tremendous. Music
right?
can have.
So I have Bluetoothed to my iPad, and I've got a cable into the laptop, and it's operating both, with no issues whatsoever. So that's a nice little accidental feature that I wasn't expecting or looking for or didn't know that I needed. But it's kind of cool, Anyway, the Bluetooth button is here, and all you have to do... Oh, let me show you... Right, so you press this Bluetooth button right here. Then, if you don't know how to do this, all you have to do in I've got my mouse on my excuse me, sorry, I've got my mouse on my laptop, not my iPad. So, top right hand corner, burger icon, and then MIDI control. So that's the bottom right hand side of these options on the right hand side. And then you just go down. Or do you? Hang on a minute. Settings. Sorry, no, it's in settings. I'm being thick again. You just come down here and there we are. Bluetooth peripheral. Bluetooth central. And find... I wish I could point at this with a mouse, but I can't. I've not got one set up. But you can see in the list on the right hand side, it's the bottom thing. You can see it in the list there. Press on it and it just connects. Super easy. Right. So let's go back to this view here. No, not that one. This one. Okay. Right, so let's turn the iPad back down for a moment. And right, let's show you some stuff that this keyboard can do. So, or shall I do this on the iPad? Maybe I should do this on the iPad. That might just be more fun. I think I've pretty much shown you what I wanted to show you about the companion software, because my point really about this video, one of the main points, is that you don't really need it if you are an iOS user. So let's move over to an iOS type screen. There, that's better. Okay. Now, it would be doubly better if I had this mouse on my iPad, but last time I tried to change it over, it took me 80 years, so I don't think I'll bother. Okay. Now, maybe also we should have the keyboard bigger on the screen. That might be good. So... what if I do this? There. Okay, that's a bit better. Right then. So I am going to struggle to show you some of them buttons, aren't I, with that? Right, okay. So I'll change the order of things then. I'll go like this to here. So you can see that screen there. And in fact, if I go like this, no, that's not going to work. Okay, right. So you see this screen in the middle of the keyboard. This is super mega useful. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to press the middle of this big orange knob. And then I'm going to press one of the pads. You can't see the pad, but trust me, I'm pressing a pad. Now, you can see on the screen there that I can now move the orange knob around and select different parameters that I want to alter for the pad that I pressed. So I can change the note number, the MIDI channel that it's on. I can change the color of the pad. Let's do that. So it says cyan at the moment. Let's change it to a color you'll be able to tell on the camera. What that color will be, I'm not sure till we look, because they don't show up that great on the camera. No, they really don't, do they? Well, I've changed this one to purple and these are blue. You might just be able to tell. These are yellow, blue, purple. Try a different colour. Light purple, pink, white. You can maybe just you see, if I switch the colour off altogether and then toggle through them, you can see that it's doing it, even though the picture. Oh, red shows up well. Okay, let's leave it red then. Okay. So that is how you would change. That's how you would change anything. If you want to change the functionality of a turning knob or a pad, or how any of the controls work and what they operate, that's how you do it. So that's why I wanted you to be able to see the little screen. I'm going to move this camera out of the way for a moment. I might need it back in a bit. So I'll put it safe. Go over there. Behave yourself. Right. Okay. Now I think we can use this camera so that you can see all the bits on the keyboard. All right. I should have a bit more light on that, maybe. Just a moment. I've got a light over here to the side. I think I might just be able. The wire's trapped, bastard. Okay. Right, yeah, see, that's a bit better. Okay, I just need to secure the light. It's trying to fall over on me. Okay. Right, so let's have a look at this keyboard. We've got, obviously... Oh, yeah. Turn down the laptop. Turn the iPad back up. Okay, so we've got some obvious things. We've got a pitch wheel. Oh, that was a bit screechy. It's you know, like on keyboards of this type, we see a lot of those keyboards with the strips, joysticks, or these kind of wheels. I mean, to me personally, I don't care. I know people have the preferences, but I don't really care which it has. I just use whatever's there. But these wheels are probably the nicest I've ever used, particularly this modulation thing, because it's so... It will stay in one position for a start. If I move it, it will stay wherever I leave it. And it's very, very sensitive. The travel on it is just really nice. It's a pleasure to use. And of course, the pitch control just snaps back. Now we've got a bunch of options with these knobs. So as you've seen, we can assign them to do stuff. I must remember to show you how I assigned them in the TV3. But here we have a sustain button. There's a jack socket in the back of the keyboard for a sustain pedal if you have one. I don't have one, but what I can do is just press sustain, and you'll hear it's got that extra long tail there, and in the screen it says sustain on, which is very nice. Now underneath these turning knobs we've got some orange writing telling us of potential functions of these knobs. If I press shift, we can then access those functions. Shift lights up. I don't know if you probably can't tell that that's lit up. I wish the picture was better. Anyway, so when it's lit up, we can access the functions under the turning knobs. So let's show you how that works. If I go to here and press arpeggio, right, and you'll see that the screen is showing up all kinds of options. See how the screen's flickering on the camera? It's not doing that in real life. That's just how it reacts to the camera. I don't know why it does that. It's probably because the camera's an Android. This one here is an Android. It's nice to upset the Android users because it's funny. That whole, Android versus iOS thing. It's kind of like Commodore 64 versus ZX Spectrum, only a lot less cool. Now, I've pressed the arpeggio button, so if I play a chord, now I've got a nice slow arpeggio. Right, so let me just scoot over this way. You can't see me, you don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm just scooting over so I can get my hand on the keys nicer. I'll play down here. Right, so I'll play the chord. Now here, this knob is latch. So if I turn it to the right, it's supposed to latch. Oh, yeah, my fault. I've not got a shift on. There we are. Right, okay, so then I can change my divisions. There's all manner of divisions to choose from. Then we've got tempo down here. Let's change that to 16s. Here we've got a gate. And this one is volume, I believe. Oh no, sorry. That's the master volume, sorry. The big knob, when it's not pressed in, is a master volume. Right. If I take shift off though, this also functions as a volume control for individual sounds. Put shift back on. Okay, now, that's not loud enough, is it? Let's open up the gate a little bit. That's better. Right, now mode. I can make the arpeggiator go down. Then it goes up and down. It goes up and plays the top note again and comes back down. And that one's called order. And then we've got a nice random one. Now let's get a better sound for that. Let's see now. Okay, now let's have it play over 2 octaves, 3 octaves, 4 octaves. There. Right, let's change that off of random. Alright, now let's make it swing. We've got a control here to make it synchronize. And this knob here will change. Now this is brilliant. This will change the channel that, the MIDI channel that the arpeggiator is arpeggiating. So, I can now toggle through the sounds that I have on my iPad. Some of them might not respond. I'm not really entirely sure why. Yeah, it's just because of the way I've got my routing set up. But you can see there that I can send that to different places, which is pretty cool, I think. Right, okay. Now for the next thing. Oh yeah, and you've also got a tap tempo button here. Now, I can never do tap tempo. Let's take the swing off. I can never do tap tempo to my satisfaction. And it tells you the BPM in the little window. I just can't do it. Okay, now for the next thing, let's get a different sound. I just want to get something just sort of pleasant and easy on the ear. What we got here? Yeah, not that one then, Jamie. It may have been a mistake using DRC for this particular sound because it's got so many awesome sounds in it. I could be here ages just picking one. Right, so just pick one, stupid hippie. There, that's quite pleasant. Okay. Right, before I forget to show you. Oh, I just knocked that other camera over. Oh, never mind. Right, so we've got transpose buttons. And nicely, not only does it tell you by what degree it's moved up, it also tells you what the root note is. And of course, we've got octave up and down. Now, we've also got, now here's a feature that I personally would not use, but I know that a lot of people are going to love this. So we have here a scale feature. And what we do is we press and hold the scale button. Then, oh, I should have shown you this first. Right, see above the keys? We've got scale root and a bunch of notes. And then we've got scale type. And we've got major, minor, Dorian, Phrygian, etc., etc. Up here, these are chord type. We'll get to these in a bit. So, first of all, if I hold down scale, and let's say we select, let's select E. And then we'll have an E minor. It's not done it because I've done it wrong. Hang on a second. Ah, there we are. Press and hold the scale button. Select the root note that you want. We'll go with C, but we'll make it a minor. Right, so natural C minor. Let go of the button. Now, all the keys are in C minor. So what it's done is any keys that have a note on them that is not in scale, it adjusts that note to be the same as the note before. So basically you can improvise, press anything you want, and it's going to be in key. So, you know, I know a lot of people love that. Now, there's two ways that this can work. That is one way. The other way is if I press this in and press scale, oh, we need the other camera. And it's over there, and I knocked it over. And, hang on. Right, okay. Handheld, right? You see the screen? I've just pressed something else now. Right, press it in again. Press scale. Right, now it says fixed do or tonic. Now if I move it to tonic, right, then I'll put this down because I've got no hands left and go back to this view. Now, in tonic mode, what will happen is, if I select a scale, so I hold down the scale button, and I'm going to select D this time, D Phrygian. Now, what it will do is, the D Phrygian scale will begin from C. And again, all the notes that are not included in the scale will be adjusted to the note before that was in scale. Right, I am terrible at playing with my left hand. I've only just realised this. So, let me just move this to another scale. I'm going to go back to C minor. I'm really enjoying C minor today. So, if I press down the scale button, and I'm going to go C minor. And now, I'm going to press in the chord button. Now, anytime I play a chord, I play a key now, it's going to change it to a chord, and it will be a chord that fits the scale. Also, it tells you in the little window, promise you. Oh, I seem to have pressed something random on my camera. Let's take it out the stand. We're going completely handheld now. There's a nice view of my studio ceiling. We'll do a quick tour of studio. Hang on. Wait. Oh, it's upside down. Right. Okay. There we are. I've got it zoomed in, so it's like a really crap circle. Yeah, that's a disaster. Let's not do that anymore. Right. Okay. So there is the little screen, which appears to be backward. What did I press on this camera? Hang on. If I press this button here and go like that, and then go like this. Ah, yes. Okay, there we are. There. Okay, so there's the screen. Now, can I do this? Have I got enough hands here? So what was I doing? Right, chord. And I press the chord button up here. Right. And then I press one of these. See above these keys here? We can choose 7th chord, 9th chord, or just a basic triad. So I'm going to use that functionality now, but I need another hand. So I'm going to have to put this camera down again. While I'm here though, let me just give you, you can see the colours better there actually. I'll just do a kind of a flyover of the keyboard, you know. So you can see, in case the other picture wasn't particularly clear, a bit closer up. And I must say, these pads are the best pads. They're even better than the ones on the last superb new improved tempo pad from Synido. They feel absolutely magic. The sensitivity on them is incredible. They are better than the Akai ones by a million miles. They are great. And the keys themselves, whilst, you know, you don't expect keys on a keyboard like this to be fantastic, they're pretty nice. They are really pretty good. Right, okay. You go over there and back to this view here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold chord, and I'm going to select triad. So now the chords are all... all nice triads in the key of C minor, and I can change these to ninths. Or we could change them to sevenths. And in the little window, I'm not going to get the camera and zoom in again, but it tells you what the chord is and what the extra note is to make it into the special chord. So, whilst I personally, and you're going to think I'm a pompous musical arsehole snob, keep saying I wouldn't use this feature. You know, I wouldn't, but I know that a lot of people love that stuff, so I wanted to show you anyway. So, do you have any questions about the keyboard? Because it's great. There's no way I'm going to get through everything that it could possibly do. But if you do have any specific questions about it, throw them in the chat. Because, you know, are they after... I see there's one there from Semtex. Are they aftertouch, dude? They are indeed aftertouch. My impression of this keyboard is... It's well, let me tell you like this. The first controller I got from Synido, I would say, was very, very good. For the money, excellent. And the next couple that I got from them, I would say the same. really, really great value for the money and better than most controllers out there. But of course, there are some premium controllers that are quite a bit more money. This one is in that premium bracket. Now, I'm not going to say too much about the money, because at the moment, any product like this, the price of it varies quite drastically depending where you are. You know, depending on things like tariffs and tax and who's talking to whose government and who's not and stuff like that. But so you know, you check out the price in your region and decide for yourself whether that amount of money is appropriate for a very feature heavy 25 key keyboard that is quite, I would say it's of a premium build quality. Now I'm going to just unplug it for a moment. I might later regret this. And I'm going to move this camera. Right, you go over there. No, go over there. Out of the way. Right. You see, it's still working because it's Bluetooth, and I'm holding it over there, which is not. Let me go like this. No, wrong way. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so it's still working because it's Bluetooth and it's still connected, right? So the quality of this keyboard, it is heavier than I expected. Now, I don't care about that. I would rather have a keyboard that is a little bit heavier, that's very, very sturdily built. And this is that. It's a quality keyboard, and it's got like the non-slip strips on the back. I've had no issues with it sliding around my desk. It just feels nice to the touch. Pads are beautiful to use. The keys are great. And everything on it is very, very well thought out. So if you're an iOS user in particular, this is a superb choice. And the bag's really, really nice and wipes clean very, very easily. What's the press depth on the keys like? What's it like? I'm just pressing them just to check. Oh, I've got chord button on, haven't I? He's trying to play a chord with the chord button. So what's that doing? Playing 9 notes? Anyway, well, there's a decent amount of travel on it, and it doesn't have that quality like the older Kai keyboards had, where it felt like, you know, pushing biscuits through treacle kind of thing. I mean, they were terrible. So yeah. What else can I show you? Is there anything else? Yes, there is, actually. Yes, there is. Right, now this is still connected to my iPad, right? So...
Here they culminate in a crescendo of color, action, and glorious music.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. If I change this, so... Right, okay. So that you can see what I'm doing. My Stream Deck just crashed. It does this periodically. Fucking work, you bastard. There, that's better. Right, now that camera's all the way over there now. So let's just bring that back a bit. Okay. Right, now up here there's a note repeat button, which I find quite cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change what's going on here on the iPad. So if I go... right, yeah, that's MIDI channel 2. So let's disconnect that. And then I'll add another channel. And we'll just grab, what shall we grab? Something with some decent bass sounds on it. Let's go with BA1. And I need to connect the TempoKEY to the new instance of BA1. And that needs to be receiving on Midi channel 2. So switch them all off, put 2 back on. Right. Okay. Now let's choose a bass sound. Just want a nice punchy one. Why can't I just have just a nice simple bass, please? Let's go change the pad bank up here. Right, okay. That might work. And then, if we go back to look at the keyboard, then I will press in the note repeat button. And we'll adjust the tempo of that. Right, okay. Just check what's going on with my scale thing here. I just want to make sure I've put it back to normal, which I probably haven't actually. Right, C. Now then, let's see. If I go... so you can see here, I could use these buttons with the note repeat on. I could use these for a, a nice solid straight bass line, and play some keys over the top. That could be a cool thing for a bit of a jam, which I'm not going to do now because I've already overrun. So I'm going to come back to this screen for a moment. So yeah, I think it's an awesome keyboard. I hope you've enjoyed me having a bit of a play around with it in a very messy and well, messy I think is the word. Very messy kind of a way. But anyway, I think I've shown you quite a lot of the cool features. I'm sure there'll be some other stuff that I could have shown you that as soon as I end the stream I'll go, oh. But, it certainly has a high recommendation from me anyway. So, just that camera back a little bit. There, that's better. Right, I don't think I need this camera in my... Oh, actually, no, I will leave that there. We'll leave that there. And I'm just going to have a little quick piss pants around with my iPad here. Adjust this back to where it was. And Now, here's a thing I struggle with, nothing to do with the keyboard whatsoever, a thing I struggle with on my iPad. Right, so let's see if any of you know the answer to this query. I'll show you what I've got here. I've got, oh, there is something I want to show you before I go. See, I knew it, right? So in Octocron, right, I have got 7 bars. I can't point with the mouse. Twat. Anyway, so you can see at the top of Octocron there, I've got 7 bars that are identical, and then one where there's a stop and then a fill, and then it just goes round. Because this little, this little jam that I've set up in AUM is 8 bars long, and it's just supposed to go round and round. But I've been having this problem that when I start the jam off, Octocron doesn't always start in the right place. So I'm going to have a little jam to play you out with, but I've changed my sound. Oh well, never mind. It'll be fine. It'll have to do. But I want to show you, before I do that, what's going on here with TV3, which I'm a really, really big fan of. I love the squeaky bass thing, and I think TV3 is a really, really good, superbly cheap example of that kind of sound. So what I've done is I've simply mapped my turning knobs there. Right, I've mapped my turning knobs to the, well, actually, just the top 3 of them. I've mapped. Hang on a second. I've got some crackling in my ear. I think it's just my headphone extension. Okay, so I have mapped the top 3 turning knobs to the cutoff, resonance, and drive in TV3. So I'm going to have a play around with that as I have a play out. And thanks very, very much for watching. Thanks for being here. Totally appreciate it. I may be doing some more live streams soon. And so just, message me, comment below the video, or throw it in the chat. Let me know what you'd like to see me doing. All right, I'm going to sign off now, and I will see you later. He said, as he started the jam with the transport buttons on the keyboard.
playing time of the music determines the number of grooves per inch that will be cut into the record.
That's musical fun for everyone.
Music is our business.